The US market has been surprisingly resilient in the last few years, and many people chalk it up to the policies being at play. However, I'm going to go over why AI is the driver behind the US economic miracle and why realistically the US will not continue to fall if there is a recession. Of course, if you watch all the way through to the end, you'll understand just about everything about the uplift that we're seeing in 2025. Hello and welcome back to Travel Report. Today we're going over how AI impacted the US economy and why the US economy has been doing so well despite all of the doom and gloom that people talk about. Oftentimes, when the US is brought up, it's headlines of the US is falling, people are living on the streets, people are rioting, and there's some grain of truth to that, right? Certainly, there are riots happening right now in the United States. Certainly, there is a large homeless population in the United States. No one debates that. But when you look at the economy in the United States, oftentimes it actually looks like it's growing. Even in real terms, it looks like it's growing. This is exactly because of the new AI boom. And while I think that many people are scared that AI will take their job, first of all, it'll take a few years to 100% replace the low-level workers. However, it does make the low-level workers more efficient as is. And so one low-level worker can now do about what 10 low-level workers could do. However, if you look at the rhetoric in the time of the internet, it was exactly the same. And people thought that the internet was going to get rid of their job. And it did. But guess what? They got new jobs. So I think we're going through exactly the same thing. And there may be a few recessions in between. But invariably, the US is positioned in a way that its economy is dominating this new technology, just as it dominated the internet. While I think that realistically people in a lot of countries are trying to compete for the AI throne, so to speak, there is no competition to companies like OpenAI, like Anthropic, like Palantir. Of course, when you look at deep learning languages, large language models, AI, you are looking at what is, in essence, a very hard thing to understand, as not even researchers truly know exactly 100% how AI works. However, the reality of AI is that of a large amount of productivity gain. And so the US already has the highest outputs per hour worked. Let me repeat that. The highest outputs per hour worked in the world. And this is in dollar terms, of course. And why is this? Well, it's because the US got rid of a lot of the people that were potentially closing bandwidth. And a lot of the jobs that people think are going to be taken are actually going to be taken from places like the Philippines, like India, like Thailand, where there are these large call centers. There are these large people who, outsource for BPO or tech. And of course, my editor in the Philippines will not be fired. Um, However, there is a movement towards firing Filipinos as AI takes over. There is a movement towards firing Indians as AI takes over. Pakistanis, all of these countries are going to lose jobs. That's inevitable. And we're already seeing the results of this in places like the Philippines. But that also means the productivity per worker is going higher. And in the Philippines, in the US, wherever, you see exactly how this is playing out. Higher GDP growth, higher amounts of um, retained jobs, actually, surprisingly, because simply there's just more work now. And this is something that happens time and time again. People think that something will replace all jobs, and then it doesn't. And of course, I think that it will replace some jobs, but I think those jobs will be replaced with other jobs. And invariably, the cycle will continue. Humans have proved surprisingly adaptable, and the US has proven to adapt the quickest and iterate the quickest. And so, this is predominantly why we're seeing GDP growth figures at 5 to 6% some years, when the economy of the US should have been a dinosaur ages ago. Now, this is also offset by the demographic population within the US, which, of course, I will go over why the demographics of the US show that the US will continue to be the global superpower. So, if you're excited about that prospect of a video, feel free to subscribe to the Travel Reports. We post 3 videos a day, absolutely free for you guys. And so a subscription would mean the world to us. If you are liking these videos, feel free to like it. If you really liked it, feel free to share it with your friends. If you're looking for one-on-one consulting to beat the next crisis, feel free to contact me in the Calendly link down below. I would love to talk to you about what your options are in that regard. That said, this has been the Travel Report. Signing off.